Welcome to the Whisky School. We're back. We are doing day 11 and 12. We doubled up last time. We're doubling up again. I couldn't resist this one. Really couldn't. We have an American peated whiskey, malt whiskey. And then we have the next one, number 11, Glenscotia, double cask, single malt whiskey. So these are two malted peated whiskies. Difference in peat levels, both kicking around the same. Not heavy, not big on that peat, so you might actually enjoy it. Even if you don't like the peat, you might, because it's not robust. It's going to wisp across your tongue. So we have these two, and it's basically Scotch and American whiskey. That's what we're playing with today. We have a 3-year-old peated malted whiskey here from Boulder Distillery. This place, it's worth going to see. It's got a traditional Forsyth still in it, brought over from Scotland. You know, it's got that still there. It's the largest still in Colorado, right here where we record from. So great, you know, distillery. They're doing everything very similar to what the Scotch do, just they're not as restricted with the rules, effectively. So, you know, they get to play with things, and, you know, rules don't always make things better. And then we have Glenscotia. You know, I mean, it's 1833, this place was established, a long time ago. It's ancient. It closed a couple of times in between, 5 years here, 2 years here, in the 30s and in the 80s, mid-80s. And thankfully they're back. They're still, you know, they were bought back over in like 85, and then Loch Lomond Group's come in 2007, boom, we've not 2000, early 2000s, and took over and now rebranded, pushing it. And the fun part, you know, for me is we've got Glenscotia and they opened Glengyle. So this is a new one for us. We're in a new region. We've talked about 4 regions so far: the Lowlands, Speyside, Highlands and Islay. Well, now we're in Campbelltown, Campbellton, you know, the Scottish accent says it. It's really an established, oldest whiskey making, and, you know, it's established whiskey making region. It was the whiskey capital of the world for a while back then, you know, but things didn't go well. Transport became easier within, you know, the mainlands. This is out in the coast, down the peninsula, near Kilsyth, and it's just been making fantastic stuff. And we've now got this double cask, and the double cask here, we don't know what age we're playing with. They're not telling us. They just won't. They like to keep that one a secret, but what we can guess is that it's a young one. I tend to always think, you know, if you're seeing a name on a bottle, it's going to be a younger whiskey. If it's got an age, it's going to be an older whiskey. That tends to be the general rule. Not always, but mostly that's what your rule is going to be. So we can always guess that this is going to be younger. You know, it could be anywhere from 3 years old, which, you know, that's what makes it a Scotch, as long as it's matured in that barrel. The American bourbon, ex-bourbon oak barrel, that's what you're going to be maturing it in for 3 years. Anything more than that, just, you know, is up to the distiller to decide, but you can sell it at the 3 years against the 3-year peated whiskey here from Boulder Spirits. So, you know, we've got 2 young ones punching it up, and I'm looking forward to it, really. Really looking forward to it. Alistair at Boulder has taken, you know, his knowledge, his experience from being in Scotland and knowing those traditions, and brought them over to try and experiment at 5,500 foot up in Boulder. You know, and that altitude makes it different. It makes it, the challenges are different. You don't have the local sourced barley as easily. You know, the growing conditions change. So this really is, you know, pushing the boundaries, experimenting, and I love that about these distilleries. You know, they push the boundaries, they love to experiment. So we're going to hit the Glenscotia with our 2 glasses, which we've all seen before, the Glencairn, the traditional whiskey glass for nosing and tasting, And then we have the new modern Norland, which we've used before. I have a lovely black one of them, but you can't see the whiskey, so that's not good. And this, you know, is modern engineering, trying to push the boundaries. So let's see if I get any like more flavors coming out of one than the other. We'll see. But here we are. We're going to pour into the glass, and you know, lovely kind of amber gold. So it's dark. You know, it's got those dark colours into it. And then we've got number 12 of the Whisky Advent Calendar, which is the Boulder Spirits Peated Malt Whisky. And that one, you know, that is so, you know, going into really amber, light red ambers I'm seeing in there. So we got the two whiskies. We've got one in the old glass, one in the new glass, and we're gonna just, you know, make sure we don't swap the lids to the wrong bottles, because that's gonna get confusing. And here we are, we have our two. Now, the difference in colours, if you can see them well over there, we're expecting, you know, this is pulling through a lot of that fresh virgin oak barrel, virgin American oak that they're using. So the flavour profile, still that American oak, that's going to be what we're influencing in here as well. But, you know, with that fresh char, what we're used to is a first fill, the ex-bourbon barrel, which, you know, has already drawn some of that flavour and that colour out of the wood and out of the char, so you don't get as heavy. Whereas here we're seeing, you know, those colours starting to really influence that one. And that, you know, just from a fresh barrel, that is the difference, you know. Probably scale of 1 to 10, we're at like 5 and we're at 10 here, you know. So here we go. Oh, beautiful, sweet on the nose, lovely light, sweet smell there, strawberries coming through. And again, you get that slight peat, just a touch of smoke, you know, light smoke coming off there. Nice oaky, musty, kind of, you know, that going into the library smell. You know, that's what I'm getting off there. Those books, I love that smell of, you know, those books in the library. It's fantastic. And then on to this one, you know, again, we're saying similar age. The only difference here is we've got two barrels. We've got one barrel here, we've got two barrels here. One's the ex-bourbon American oak. The other one is Pedro Jimenez, which is the sherry. And, you know, that's why we're getting some of those richer colours coming through. Just deep smells on that nose, like really are, love it. Deep dark fruits, pear, a bit of lightness just wafting across there. Yeah, it's those berries, berry fruits. And you know, this one really sugary. Get a lot of sugary, kind of sugared fruits in there on that nose. So just from there, that's the two differences we're getting. And for me, the wood influence is really changing. It is that straight off charred influence is going straight in there, and you get that. But everything's done really subtly, very subtly. Great sweetness coming off there, and I'm gonna try this one first. Try the American whiskey first, absolutely. A lot of spice forward, a lot of young flavours come from those, like wood flavours coming through, definitely that oakiness, young oak. So, you know, I think of stripping a tree, and then you know, smelling that fresh wood coming off it. That's what I'm getting on taste, on that flavour profile coming across. Those lovely sweet notes starting to go across the tongue. Definitely sugared fruits. You know, could be any fruits really. There's an abundance, you know, like citruses, lemons, lovely light fruits coming through there, with that smoke just rolling across the tongue at the back end. Really light, kind of charcoaly type flavours coming through there, you know, rather than that strong earthy flavour from the peat you get. You're just getting that really light note coming across there. And then, you know, long finish, really is. It goes on forever. Caramels dropping off it just at the back end. So that there, you know, from that fresh charred American oak barrel, we've got those kind of flavours coming through with that peated malt, and they're using malt, remember, so it's not just a mix of grains. This is our malt that we're getting, so you're getting those kind of biscuity flavours that will come through on that. And then we hit Glenscotia, and again, we don't know age. We're going to already noticed, you know, with the nose, just slight tint there of those alcohols coming through. So, you know, the longer it matures in the barrel, the longer the alcohols have got time to infuse and get together with all the other things going on in there. And that's really, you know, why they mature it for longer, is to try and blend those flavours together and make them more smooth, some more robust. The longer you keep it in there, the more influence, then hide certain flavours. So that's really, you know, why we age in a barrel. And then, boom, we're going to try this one. And wow, I'm getting like cocoa in there. I'm getting a lot of beautiful dark fruits coming through from that sherry. You know, those sweet and dark fruits. Absolutely beautiful. With the, again, just a touch of that smoke rolling in. It really is, you know, a bit more intense. You know, we've got higher ABV on this. It's a little bit stronger in proof, so, you know, it's enhancing a lot of those flavours. You're getting a lot more warmth in your mouth from that whiskey. Again, it's young. You know, I can feel a slight burn of the alcohol in there. It's lovely, beautiful, you know, chocolatey, deep, rich. That's kind of a whiskey you could sit after dinner, really. It's that sweet. Do a little bit after dinner in your set. And yeah, it's fantastic. I've enjoyed it, really have. I mean, I've come from work to the whiskey table, and here we are with two fantastic whiskies. I hope you've enjoyed them as much as I have. I'm going to probably finish these off for the night, and tomorrow we'll be back and we'll be tasting onto 13 and 14, day 13 and 14 together. We're going to pair them up, and then after that, you know, we've got another 2 weeks of whiskey drinking to go, and I'm really enjoying the prospect of going through all of these. If you come and see us at the Whisky School on whiskyschoolus.com, or just see us on Instagram, and we'll talk tomorrow. Enjoy your night.